Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking about the upcoming full moon that we have in Aquarius. That full moon will happen on August 29th, which is a Saturday, and be around midday in the Pacific time zone, and the East Coast time zone of the U.S. also. But it's full moon in Aquarius. Now, this is the moon opposite the sun in Leo. So we have the sun in Leo, and then the moon in Aquarius, and this shows where that individuality, that individual will of Leo needs to be harmonized with a more social outcome. It's where the personal individuality, which is Leo, becomes universalized towards something that's, as I say, of more social value for the bigger picture, for society, and for even those things that inspire us beyond just our own power. So Aquarius, where the full moon happens, is also related to social causes that we believe in, things that have long-term benefit. You know, we all have this desire to want to leave the world better than we found it. We all want to think and know that the things that inspire us personally and that fill us with joy and light can inspire and uplift others as well, and uplift culture. So this is the real harmonizing point of Leo. No sign is really complete until we harmonize it with its opposite. And so, you know, full moons bring out a lot of that kind of shadow stuff, not to get into a kind of hack Jungian perspective, because that's not my field, but the unintegrated part often of any sign is the opposite sign. So in many ways, the way for the Leo cycle to complete and to be full is to integrate the Aquarius end of the spectrum. So the full power of Leo, which is about the glory of the individual, like I said, but again, the glory of the individual is not realized until something is found which is higher than just personal benefit and personal enjoyment. For instance, Leo is the sign of the father. Father is different than brother or lover or self. The reason Leo is related to the father, and it's also related to the king, is because the king, a good king, shares the energy with everyone so that everyone benefits from the light, just like the sun in the sky. Leo is ruled by the sun. And so if we seek to possess the power and say the power is mine and I'm not giving any of it, that's not the integrated whole potential of Leo. The potential of Leo is fully realized, and it's not fully realized until something bigger is found, like a kingdom with which to share. And again, this is what we're all looking to do in life. We're looking to have our personal power, and the thing that really lights us up, light up the world and benefit everyone. And that's what we're going to be feeling with the full moon, in Aquarius. So you'll be able to feel that connection with something higher than just your own personal power, because notice how much it's been about your personal power the last couple weeks. The sun is in Leo. It's also joined Jupiter, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it's really brought into question, who am I? What am I most empowered by? What do I most want to give? And am I giving it? Am I giving my full power? Am I giving my fullness? And again, it's not about am I getting. Our identity really revolves around how much we're giving. That's how we truly feel as though we're growing. It's not what we're getting, it's what we're giving. And this is the lesson of Leo. Just like the sun in the sky that just gives. And so the real thing to understand now is that on this full moon, and as we draw closer to the full moon, we're looking at opportunities in which to give, and we're assessing how much the power we're putting out is being reflected back to us. And again, in Leo, we want the reflection to come back from culture and from things that we believe in and that we agree with. And when we realize, look, like if you realize, let's just be personal, you're looking in your life for areas where you're just being maybe selfish and self-absorbed, like a king who is trying to steal from the kingdom rather than empower. And in those areas, or this is the big crisis for Leo, when we look into our life and we'll say, did I really matter? Did my life really matter to people? Because ultimately, this is what gives our life meaning and what allows us to realize that our life is important. Not just important to ourselves, because that's easy, but important to life itself, and that our existence is something that will be missed. Again, this is why I say it's the culmination point of Leo, because unless we feel like our existence will be missed, we don't feel empowered. We don't feel special, you might say. And in order to feel that we'll be missed, we have to get that reflection back from people. And again, Aquarius is people, culture, large groups of people that represent the universalized self, where our individuality is universalized and sublimated sublimated by a cause or by the spectrum of life. Aquarius is where we make peace with the wins and losses of life, the gains and losses, the ups and downs. Leo is where we try to change them because we're the king, and the king has power, and I'm going to use my power to, what? Be lazy, be happy, take all the money? No, I'm going to use my power for good, to change the world the way it should be. But we only have so much capacity as well. And in Aquarius, it's where we make peace with our place in culture, our place in this life. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and it's the masculine nature of Saturn, the external quality of Saturn. So Saturn is about commitment, duty, time, perseverance, determination. Many times people say discipline, but discipline is more about Mars, which is about doing the thing right now rather than doing something else. It takes discipline to get up early and do this and do that. Saturn is more about the future. It's more about time. It's more about our long-term commitments, our willingness to persevere through difficulty because we see there's something bigger. Because we see a long-term goal. The capacity to sacrifice right now for something in the future and to work hard for it. And this quality of Saturn comes into existence through Aquarius by it's those qualities brought into the realm of ideas and culture and social structures that outlive our individuality. This is why Aquarius is related to things like politics and the sciences, life sciences, and things that are large social structures. Social is air, structure is Saturn. Making a commitment to social structures. This is how you can really understand astrology. And it's not a basic level, it's the fundamental foundational level. You look at the element, you look at the modality, you look at the ruling planet. And the modality is it's a fixed sign. Because we try to set up these fixed structures. And we live in the midst of fixed structures. Social structures, politics, and also that includes anarchy, it includes communism, it includes democracy, it includes social structures, which also includes things like religion. They fall in a social structure. So making a commitment to those things and improving those things for the benefit of all is an important part of Aquarius energy. So you'll feel this pull, this mirror reflection from Leo back from Aquarius, where your mind and your heart is feeling the need to be connected to culture, to feeling the need to matter, and to know that your individual power is making a difference on a larger scale. So, we're in the United States, we're in the midst of an impending election cycle, and there's a lot of these large issues being discussed. Of course, they're always being discussed around the world. So it's pretty relevant metaphor for what's happening in the United States right now. So in the midst of that, this full moon is also in Shatabishak Nakshatra. Shatabishak means 100 doctors or 100 medicines. And it shows where we need to find alternative answers to our questions. Because we're ill, let's say, perhaps, because we get sick and the traditional ways don't work. So we need to find an alternative solution. The deity is called Varuna, who was the god of the sky, of the seasons, of cosmic order. And again, it shows this relationship to the upper atmosphere and the potential for sudden change and revolutionary change. Over the weekend, we may see some sudden revolutionary changes on this full moon, because it happens on Saturday. So Friday, Saturday, we may see some revolutionary changes coming on the world stage. So a few other things that are of importance. Mercury is now in his sign of exaltation. Mercury is in Virgo, and so this is good news because you like to have a planet in its dignity, and so having Mercury in Virgo is allowing us to be more diligent with details and with what we say. We also, Mercury is the one who rules communication, so we can all be communicating a little bit better now. But it's also close to Rahu, the North Node, which also shows a kind of erratic communication, so we may be seeing that as well. A lot of these sort of communication issues can be in flux right now. In addition, we've had Jupiter being combust. So the combustion of Jupiter it's very combust right now. And the combustion is when the planet is totally behind the sun. I talked about this last week, when the planet is behind the sun. And so Jupiter's energy is coming through the sun. So Jupiter's energy is being purified by the sun. And what this means is that we're looking for our teachers to be pure. We're looking for teachings and teachers to be pure. And if they're not, we're looking to maybe burn off those impurities. We have to be careful because Jupiter combustion also leads us to be maybe more critical of teachers than we should be, because of maybe our wounds and our skepticism and our cynicism and our atheism and other things that could certainly be possible. But it's a good time to really scrutinize your teachers and to look and see how those teachings resonate, and also act. If something inspires you and your inspiration, to gain higher knowledge is satisfied by certain teachers or certain teachings, now is a great time to really act, because Jupiter in Leo for the next year is great for making a commitment to teachings that inspire you. Leo is a fixed sign. For instance, I'm doing my certification course. A lot of people registering, more so than most years, and much earlier and much quicker, because Leo is the sign of inspiration, and Jupiter is there. Leo is a sattvic sign, and it's very inspired, and it's fixed fire. It's fixed, solid structure. So it's where we can really make a commitment to our inspirations. Fixed signs are about structure, so it's a great time to put structures into place. And again, but you may find that you're getting into some kind of battles with teachers or some irritation with them. I'm not seeing any of it, so I must be doing a good job. My students are doing well. They're not arguing with me, thank God. But there's a lot of power in that right now. Venus continues going retrograde, and Venus will continue retrograde until September 6th, when it turns direct, or at least when it stops going retrograde. It's actually at the end of November 5th. No, what is it? Early November 6th on the West Coast. So you might as well say it's November 6th. And so, I'm sorry, not November, September 6th, excuse me. So Venus will be retrograde until September 6th, and that, and it's also crossing Mars. So Venus is getting very close to Mars in the sky, and of course they're both in Cancer. Venus is retrograde and Mars is debilitated, so it's quite an interesting sort of stew there with Venus and Mars both in Cancer. You know, the sort of aggregate result of this energy is you really have a lot of potential for compromise and ease in a kind of romantic partnership, because Mars, which is usually our fighting instinct and fighting to preserve our personal power, is very subdued, and Venus is also there. And they're in Cancer, which is not really about fighting. But the problem is we can make compromises now that we might not want to, maintain, especially after Mars goes into Leo, which will be in a few weeks. But you're probably experiencing this now as more peace and more, feeling of sort of coming together around some recent polarizing in your romantic relationships, perhaps. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to see how this full moon will influence your sign, then you can join my member site, only one penny, and you can get that full moon forecast, also new moon forecast, also daily forecasts for only one penny for 2 weeks. And then if you wish to retain your membership, then the membership fee kicks in. But for now, if you just want to see how this influences your sign, go ahead and register. It's very worth it. People usually join they join the member site for months or years at a time. So you can check that out as well. But either way, I hope you have a good full moon, and leave me some comments and let some friends know.